I respect your time, so let's get right into it. Welcome to part 2 of my Shadow Weapons series. In the first video, we talked about whether it's worthwhile to craft your own Shadow Weapon upgrade materials or buy them directly from the exchange, and how to use the spreadsheet to determine which white weapon gives you the best value if you choose to craft the materials yourself. For those of you who missed it, cut up at the top, because I'm going to go straight to the deep end with this video, and you should preferably be familiar with how the spreadsheet works first. This video focuses on profiting from Shadow Weapon upgrading materials, both Tier 1 and Tier 2. Now, there are two big differences when you plan to use the upgrading materials for yourself versus for profit. So the biggest difference here is when you're using it for yourself, you can actually buy the luminary soulstones from the exchange. So for example, I bought a lot of luminary soulstones from the exchange for my own use. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate once through. So as you can see here, I have 90 bounded luminary soulstones. I bought this from the exchange. Okay, so I'm going to craft my own luminary spear upgrade using the 90 bounded soulstones. So you can see that my weapon is not bounded because I got it from a dungeon. It doesn't matter whether your item is bounded or not bounded. As long as your luminary soulstone is bounded, the final outcome will also be bounded. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I got 90 luminary soulstone 1 materials, and you can see that it is bounded. So I cannot sell this on the market. I have to use it for myself, which is the entire purpose of me crafting it in the first place. I want to use it for myself. If you want to do this for profit, you have to use the unbounded luminary soulstones that you mine yourself. And this time round, I will be doing an example with a bounded level 25 spear, right? A bounded level 25 spear. I have 18 unbounded luminary soulstones. I mine all this myself with a bounded weapon, and you will see that the final outcome is still unbounded. You can trade this on the market. So the whole purpose of me doing this is to show you that it doesn't matter what your weapon is. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is whether the luminary soulstones are bounded or unbounded. Okay, so let's craft. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look. There you go. So you can see that the luminary spear one is now not bounded. 18 pieces, right, from using the level 25 spear. And the 90 pieces that I got was from the previous round where I used bounded luminary soulstones that I bought from the exchange. So since this video is for profit, how do we find out which shadow weapon upgrade material from your class has the most value? I've actually added a few columns on the right. Over here, column L onwards is actually for profit. Here is where you enter the price of the luminary upgrade materials for comparison. So let's go through the entire process step by step. I am a warrior. I can craft all the items here. All these items I can craft. But I can't craft bows, I can't craft stuff. So please don't go and buy bows and buy stuff. And so I think to myself, I have a bunch of unbounded luminary soulstones that I mine myself. What is the best value I can get for these 33 luminary soulstones that I have? Should I craft spears to sell? Or should I craft two-handed swords to sell? Or should I craft off-hand and one-handed swords to sell? No worries, I got you. Now let's go to the spreadsheet and check one by one. Okay, so the idea is the same. You just have to fill in everything in the yellow column based on the prices in your server, your exchange center. So starting from luminary soulstone, 743 and 2280. 743, 2280. Now I actually expanded the whole list with one more section for each weapon so that you can, in case your class has more than one weapon that belongs to two hands. So in my case, I have two-handed spears, I have two-handed swords. I also have two different types of offhand, so I included two for every single weapon type so that it's easier to see. So for two-handed swords, let's go to the weapon itself. 2820 3600. 2820 3600. Then we go down to spear 5650 for both. Level 50 white weapon, same, 14,500 for both. So after we are done filling in this column here, the prices of the white weapon, next we go to the profit section. We have to key in the price of the final crafted item. So this is my spear section. So the final item is 1580. This is the two-handed sword section. So this is 1680. One-handed, we have 883. And then we have the cheap shield, which is 1130. This one is empty. 1130. We have the expensive shield, which is the 1900. So after we have keyed in, I'm going to just fill in the tier 1 materials to show you how it works. You can actually fill in the rest of the thing as well, which includes the tier 2 materials, so that you can see, we can actually compare even further. So I'm just going to fill in the tier 1 materials first for demonstration. So after we are done filling in the values here, look at column M. It actually tells you how much profit you make per piece. Now, since we are only looking at luminary 1 materials, this is how much profit you can make from one piece of tier 1 upgrade material. So if you choose to craft spears, the best you can do is 680.34, 680 crystals. If you choose to do two-handed swords, you actually can get 780 crystals. If you choose to do one-handed swords, you actually make a loss. Now, the reason for a loss is very simple. The price of soulstone plus the weapon is actually, it costs more than the final upgrade material itself. So in this case, you should probably buy this directly. So next we have offhand, the cheap shield. One gives you 50 crystals. The other one, because the difference is so small, you actually earn way more if you choose to craft from the level 40 white weapon at 185. So once again, this is trash. And lastly, the expensive shield, we have 657, 642. So just looking at column M, you can tell that the best value, the best thing to craft as a warrior, for me personally, based on the prices in my server, is actually two-handed swords, because it gives me the most profit per piece that I craft. So for each luminary soulstone I use, instead of selling it for 743, I'm selling it for 1680, which gives me a profit of 737 or 780. So now that you know these values, the next question you should ask yourself is, do I go for the highest profitability or do I play it safe? If I go for the highest profitability, I would definitely choose two-handed swords to craft and sell. But if I pick the safe option, I would just craft spears to sell. Why is it safe? Because in the event where it doesn't sell, I can still use it for myself and it does not stay in my exchange center and collect dust. Now, this one, I leave it up to you. No right or wrong, it's just a difference in preference. Some people like to play it safe, some people like to go big or go home. Up to you. Now, there are many other things to consider, such as how many items are being sold in your server. So, for example, Conquering Spear 1, there are 394 people selling it. For two-handed swords, there's 1,765 people selling it. For the extensive shield, there's 569 people selling it. So it's really up to you which one you decide to sell, and it also it depends on how popular is a particular class in your server. Now, this spreadsheet cannot tell you all this. It simply takes in a number and shows you which outcome is potentially the highest value. I've said this from the beginning, I've said this in the welcome message. The spreadsheet cannot predict demand. You have to go through the thinking process yourself, and the spreadsheet is just a tool. So what are the pros and cons of selling and profiting from shadow weapon upgrade material? So pro number 1, you can make crystals without technically spending stamina. So because you spend all your stamina mining, you probably wouldn't have much stamina left, but this is definitely a way to make crystals without spending stamina. And similarly, because you are also a full miner, it's also an alternative income source if you are a full AFK miner. Now, next advantage is it's much better than selling luminary soulstones directly to the market. So don't waste your efforts mining and then selling the soulstones directly, because you actually can gain so much more by crafting upgrade materials to sell instead of just selling the soulstones directly. Now, another good advantage of this method is demand should always be there since RNG. Alright, shadow weapon is a pretty strong progression mechanic, but there's a lot of RNG elements. Most free-to-play players would hit at least level 5 and they will stop there because I think level 6 users like gold weapon or something like that. Now, what are the disadvantages, the cons of doing this method? You have to be a full miner, since the only way to make tradable materials is by crafting with unbounded luminary soulstones. Okay, I've demonstrated this earlier. Because the mining rates for soulstones are pretty low, So it's quite inconsistent. Now, how low is low? If I'm not wrong, so it's roughly about 3%, and I think for Luminary Soulstone 2, it's actually very, very low, like a 1% to 4% chance. So it's not very consistent, but when you actually get it, it's actually very good. Another disadvantage of this method is that it would not be considered pure profit unless you got the weapon directly from the dungeons. If not, you have to minus away the cost of weapon from the weekly quota. So let's put all these cons into numerical examples so that you can see where I'm coming from. So for example, how many luminary soulstones do I actually have to mine to hit the 500k quota? Is it even possible? So based on the prices from my server, the best case scenario is for me to craft two-handed swords. So I can sell two-handed swords at 1680 each. So to hit 500k quota, I need to sell 500k divided by 1680 equals to 500,000 divided by 1680 gives me 297. So I need to sell 297 pieces of tier 1 materials before hitting the 500k quota. Since it's a 1-to-1 ratio with a minimum factor of 18, I will need to craft at least, let's see, 297 divided by 18. So 297 divided by 18, I will need to craft at least 17 times. Now at a 3% rate of getting Luminary Soulstone 1, I would need approximately 33 tries, 3%, right? 3% chance to get Luminary Soulstone 1. So translates to 33 tries or 100 stamina each piece. And to craft the item 17 times, I need 17 times 18 equals to 17 times 18, 306 pieces. And since it's 100 stamina per piece, I need 306 times 100 stamina, which is 306, 30,000 stamina. Each week, we only have 14,800 stamina for free. So this method cannot get you 500k crystals a week based on my server's prices. Now, similarly, at 17 tries, to craft this 17 times, I need to buy the weapon 17 times as well, right? So this is the part where it's not pure profit. So the 30,600 proves that this is inconsistent and unreliable, because you cannot do this every week. It's not possible. You can do this every 2-3 weeks at best. And to craft 17 times, I need to buy the weapon 17 times. So let's see, is it even worth? Okay, 3,600, 780 is the best. So I should buy the level 40 watt weapon. 5650 gives me 36. So I need at least 9 times level 40 weapon, which is 9 times 5650, 50,000. So 50.1, 51,000. So this 51,000 shows that this is not pure profit, because you actually have to spend 51,000 to make 500,000. The actual profit that you make is probably about 400k, because you hit the 500k quota, you minus away the tax, you only get 450k, minus away 50k, you only get 400k gross profit. Now, I know there's a lot of information to process, so let's break down the most important things mentioned so far. The difference between crafting luminary upgrade materials for your own use versus crafting it for profit. So the first difference is when you're using it for yourself, you can actually buy the Luminary Soulstone from the exchange to craft. Now, when you buy the Luminary Soulstone from the exchange, the final Luminary upgrade material is bounded. This means it cannot be sold on the market. Whereas if you are going to do this for profit, the Luminary Soulstones have to be unbounded, which means you have to mine it yourself. The weapon can still be bought directly from the exchange, only the Luminary Soulstones have to be unbounded. Secondly, when you want to use it for yourself, you have to craft the upgrade material based on the shadow weapon you use. So I am a spear knight. I have to craft luminary spears to upgrade my shadow weapon. Whereas if you're doing this for profit, you can choose which upgrade material to craft as long as it belongs to a weapon type that your class uses. For example, I'm a spear knight, which means I am a warrior. A warrior can have access to one-hand weapon, off-hand, or two-hand swords or two-hand spears. So the logical conclusion here is to craft the upgrade materials that has the best value for profit in your class. Alright, so that's it for me. I'm actually really relieved that I managed to get the shadow weapon tab done. It has been something that I wanted to do for the longest time, and there are just so many things to consider, like how to present the information clearly and how to explain the process and so on and so forth. Now I want to credit a comment from a fellow viewer that told me that level 50 offhand shield uses 30 stone 1 and gives 15 mat 2 instead. So I've made the change over here and I've credited him because it's really important. So please let me know if I overlook anything, because I'm also learning as I go along. I'm not a Taiwan server player, so I work with what I have and what I can find. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because as you can see, I try and reply to every single comment that I have. So if you appreciate the time and effort spent making the spreadsheet and video, please leave a like on the video. And if you like videos that provide value for your gameplay and keep you ahead of the free-to-play curve, subscribe. Alright, that's it. As always, outplay, not outpay. Bye!